Ma never na say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there osia dem yopo.
Yes, Majority Leader.
Right, Honorable Speaker. On the question of mining leases, let me assure you that I will continue to push for the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources to present to this House the various mining leases that are outstanding and need to be ratified by this House. I have, in all sincerity, agreed with all of us in this House that we must have the mining leases in this House. It is an accountability mechanism because we get to see the terms of the lease and then we get to monitor and ensure that the leases are implemented according to the terms. And so it is not appropriate that these leases don't come to this House. But this didn't start today. I mean, in the last several decades, many mines have operated without their leases coming to this House for ratification. It is not right, and we must stop it. Suspension, COVID-19 incidents was raised earlier on. I've seen the Ghana Health Service statement, and the statement is very clear in its terms. It says that the World Health Organization no longer treats COVID-19 as a health emergency. Doesn't mean that COVID-19 has ended. Once in a while, there will be sporadic recurrence of infections in some places, but it is not a threat. Indeed, the Ghana Health Service says that nobody is being admitted on account of having COVID-19, but they still encourage people, if they experience the symptoms, to report so that they can be taken care of. I believe the vaccinations went very far, and there's been a huge coverage in terms of vaccinations. And many of us have developed the capacity to resist, and if infected, to be able to survive when given treatment. So let's take advantage. But Ghana Health Service does not consider it to be a serious health emergency that should attract the kind of interventions that is being advocated. On the issue of the Common Fund and the guidelines, which was raised earlier. Yes, it is the guidelines that has provisions that assign quotas in terms of how much money should go for what items. I think that they were not issued by the finance minister. I have a copy of the guidelines, and they were issued by the Minister for Local Government. And the Act clearly makes provision for the local government minister to issue the guidelines. And I've seen a copy signed by the Minister Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim, Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy, and Religious Affairs. So they are not issued by the Minister for Finance. And essentially, the guidelines say that 25% of the funds should be spent on design and construction of 24-hour model markets. So spend the money on the construction of a market. And it is our women, our mothers, our sisters, who sit in the sun in our villages, in our communities, in our towns to sell. And the minister is insisting that 25% of the money should be spent on constructing markets so that our women can have decent places to sit and engage in the economic activities that enable them to pay our fees for us to be here today, to pay for medical bills that have enabled us to survive to today. And so we are prioritizing our market women, our mothers, our sisters. That's the focus, prioritize them. That's what the guideline is saying. So I don't know if there's a problem with insistent monitoring and evaluation activities, 10% for solid and liquid waste management. These are essentially the guidelines. These are what you call quotas. I don't know if you disagree with it. What else do you want the money to be spent on? The travel expenses of DCEs and MCEs? Because we don't want a situation where the resources go to the districts and they are not applied to address the welfare and the concerns of ordinary citizens. That is why we are insisting on these guidelines and the quotas that have been allocated. And clearly the law makes provision for the minister to provide for these guidelines, and he has accordingly done so. PURC and the tariff adjustments. You call on us to invite PURC, but I think that it is the energy minister and green transition that we should be invited to come and brief the House. So we'll make arrangements for the minister to come. And when he comes, don't complain about politicization of the energy sector. Because you all know that the whole of last year, and I think sometime before that, there was an effort to prevent the PURC from adjusting the tariffs. So that whole period, there was no adjustment. But you know very well that bills were accruing. Payments have to be made. ECG is accumulating huge debts. And it has to be paid for. And who is supposed to pay? Is it not the consumer? And if you are not adjusting the tariffs to enable ECG to pay, ECG is going to collapse. They are no longer going to be able to buy the inputs needed to keep the generators on. And we are going to have lights off. The bills have to be paid. So if PURC is doing its work, I don't think that there's a basis for saying that because we have improved the economy, exchange rate is stable, dollar rate is stable, inflation is relatively stable. If all these indicators are stable, it doesn't mean that the debt that has been accrued at ECG will just be wished away. The debt has to be paid. It has to be paid partly by consumers. We've designed a model for paying the debt. That was why we came in here and appealed to the House to approve the adjustments to the energy levy so that we can have 1 cedi saved from the benefits accruing from the decreasing price of fuel at the ex-pump price to pay that bill so that we can have ECG functioning efficiently. In addition to the privatization of the distribution subsector of the energy sector. So these are measures that are being put in place to address the huge debt that has accumulated at ECG. But the minister will be invited. He would come and he will give us the full detail of the mess that we are in and the effort that we are putting in place to address that mess. Mr. Speaker, I think the other issues that were raised were road accidents, yes. I think that the minister is coming here. The Minister for Transport will be here next week. So we'll just add it to the list of items that the Minister for Transport will address. Mid-year budget, yes, it will definitely come. The minister is out of the jurisdiction. When he gets back, I believe he will put things in order to come and present the mid-year budget. It's a statutory requirement. Why the levy was suspended, the minister will come and brief us. But basically, the levy was passed on the understanding that if it will lead to an increase in ex-pump prices, it will not be enforced. We made that promise clear that the reason why the levy is being passed is to harvest the benefits of the decrease in petroleum prices at the pump. So if we see that some global developments will create a situation where there will be an increase, we will not enforce the law. We don't want to impose hardship. This is not a government that takes pride in imposing hardship. This is not a government that takes pride in imposing hardship. Wherever we notice that hardship will be occasioned to Ghanaians, we will do whatever it takes to ameliorate it. And so when missiles were flying between Iran and Israel, and global oil prices were increasing, and we saw some indications that export prices might increase as a result, we decided to hold on with the implementation of the legislation because we don't want drivers to pay more than they have to pay. So this is the explanation for the suspension. But the minister will come and add his voice to the explanation. LGBTQ, this side of the House remains committed to making sure that LGBTQ is not part of the culture of this country. We are very clear on that. We are very clear on that. We labored to pass a legislation on the matter, and the former president refused to sign it. He refused to sign it. He refused to sign it. He refused to sign it. And I'm surprised that my colleagues on this side, at that time, we didn't hear their voices on the refusal of the president to sign it. We did not hear their voices. Suddenly, they have found their voices and want to pretend that they are the chief advocates of LGBTQ, anti-LGBTQ matters in this country. When it mattered most to fight the menace, where were you? When it mattered most, when you had the numbers and you were the majority and you were the ruling government, where were you? Mr. Speaker, street lights, there was an issue about street lighting. I think the minister is distributing street lights to members of parliament to enable members of parliament. It's across board. It's across board. It's across board. Even our side, we haven't received them yet. So it is going to come, and then everybody is going to get. Everybody will get it. So I want to assure you that you will be getting street lights. It may not be enough, but you can focus on the priority areas. 1D, 1F abolition. Let me indicate that it has always been part of the laws of this country for industries to enjoy tax exemptions under certain conditions. All industries located in the free zones enjoy tax exemptions. All industries located in the free zones enjoy tax exemptions. 1D, 1F was a policy to encourage the establishment of at least one factory in every district. At least one factory in every district. Mr. Speaker, if after 9 years we come to this house and we plead for factories to get tax exemptions under 1D, 1F, it is shameful. Shameful because you are telling the world that after 9 years, you could not establish at least one factory in one district under the tax exemption scheme. After 9 years, at least you should be able to account for one district, one factory across the country. After 9 years, we don't have one district, one factory, and yet you are still in this chamber appealing to this side of the house and this new government to continue one district, one factory. So clearly, the policy has failed, and if after 9 years we cannot implement the policy, why should we continue along those lines? Why? Why should we continue? But don't worry, we are bringing a comprehensive policy on the 24-hour economy. And the 24-hour economy has at its core a program for a revolutionary transformation of this country through rapid industrialization. That will happen, and where there will be a need for tax exemptions, we will come to this house and we'll ask for the tax exemptions. Mr. Speaker, on the issue of the registered nurses, the President directed that a meeting be convened by the relevant ministers to address the concerns of the nurses. I was there when he gave the directive. because I went to report the work that Parliament did in terms of mediating to get the nurses to call off the strike, and the promises that Parliament made to the nurses, and he directed that a meeting be held with him to see how far we can go in terms of meeting the needs of the nurses. Unfortunately, the ministers are all out of town, as indicated by your own ranking member for health yesterday on radio. The finance minister is out. The health minister is also out. They are all with the president in, Brussels on a major health issue. And so when they come back, I'll follow up and ensure that that meeting to address the concerns of the registered nurses, as promised by Parliament, does take place so that we see how far we can reach out to the nurses. I believe the issues have been raised, have been addressed. Thank you very much.
Yes, Minority Chief Whip.
Speaker, the leader has attempted, it's a good attempt, he's attempted to deal with the issues well enough. I'll refer the leader to Order 79. In fact, if my wish was to call for the energy minister to be programmed, I would have said so. The PRC is an independent constitutional body, and I'm saying that to the extent that our orders allow, the new orders allow independent constitutional bodies to come and address us and deal with issues at the Committee of the Whole. That is my preference. And so, leader, get it right. We don't want the energy minister. We want the PRC executive secretary to come to at the Committee of the Whole and come and address the issues. And so, if you may permit me, leader attempted as usual to do his own thing. But the indicators are clear. Inflation, exchange rates, and weighted average cost of gas at the international level. These are the key indicators for the pricing of tariffs. All these indicators have taken a nosedive. To the extent that these indicators have taken a nosedive, and you are still going up, you have questions to answer. And so, Speaker, leader, I appreciate you are settling on the minister. We want the PRC executive secretary to be here at the Committee of the Whole. And then you also left out the BOG concern about the employment, that the BOG, yes, you see, leader, you are diligent, but you are human. You are human, so I'm just bringing it to your notice. I don't know if it is, I know it is inadvertent. So the BOG boss should also come to the Committee of the Whole. That's important. And Speaker, let me conclude on this note. I've heard the argument, and it's the two sides of the coin, that the local government minister has the mandate under the Local Governance Act to issue guidelines. I'm not contesting that. I'm saying, Speaker, from 1992 or in the 80s, when we started practicing the local governance system, there has never been a time that Parliament passes a formula, a DSCF formula, we pass the formula, and then the minister goes to issue quotas that are variants with the formula. To that extent, the minister has to come to this house and speak to the members, the representative of the people. What is engineering this? As regard, to the extent that that explanation has not been given, the local government minister must come to this house and explain to the people's representative where is he drawing his powers from. We have the mandate, and cabinet cannot overturn a decision by Parliament. When we pass the DSCF formula, it is the local government's responsibility to ensure its enforcement. You can issue guidelines, but the guidelines will not be as variants, and that's the point. So you can catch the speaker's eye and speak. So you are giving sanitation 20%, market 10%. What was the original formula that was approved by this house? And Speaker, in concluding, leader again will do his own thing, market. Don't turn the people against us. We are for markets. We are for AstroTurf. Check, reference the formula that was approved. 70 million was devoted for the construction of AstroTurf, the new formula that was approved by DSCF. 70 million for the construction of AstroTurfs, markets, parks. It has been taken care of already. So, questions about duplication. Duplication of function in which way? Reference your DSCF formula passed. Speaker, so that is the point. And I want the leader to take this in good stride. I respect him. Speaker, I respect him. I know he's a listening leader. But where we are making mistakes, it is our responsibility to bring matters up to him. The governor of the Bank of Ghana cannot just sit at the comfort of his office and be dismissing Ghanaians just like that. He must come. So these are and the finance minister, he forgot to speak to it.
Honorable Minority.
Yeah, so if the
Minority Chief Whip. Honorable Minority Chief Whip. With all due respect.
With respect.
Because I owe a fidelity to the rules. If you look at Order 79 that you mentioned, it says that a question asked of head of independent constitutional body shall be responded to at the committee of the whole. That is, when you pose a question, you know, as members of parliament, we are entitled to ask any independent constitutional body's question. We are entitled to ask any minister question. It is following the question that the minister or the head of the independent constitutional body will be programmed by the business statement to appear before the House. But where there is no question directed at the independent constitutional body, where there is no question directed to the minister, or there is no statement transmitted to the minister, and then at a time for adoption of the business statement, we are saying bring the minister, bring the constitutional body to come and answer question. The issue, therefore, is that which question have we filed in relation to which the minister should be programmed to come and respond to? That is one aspect that we should look at. Two, independent constitutional bodies are defined at page 4, the interpretation column, that is Standing Order 6. With permission, if I may read. Independent constitutional bodies include Electoral Commission, Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, National Commission for Civic Education, National Media Commission, Office of the Administrator of District Assembly's Common Fund, Office of the Auditor General, Bank of Ghana, and other bodies established to have exclusive jurisdiction in the performance of assigned function. PURC, is it also an independent constitutional body? This is just food for thought. We should think around it, and mine is to bring it to your attention. Then we can have a best way of going about the issues. Whether we should raise questions directed at them to come and answer, or how do we go about it? Or the business committee can so move to program them to come and appear before the House and respond to questions. What question would the business, what question will be transmitted to them to come and then answer? These are issues that we should take on board in commenting on a business statement. I am to provide a guide. Yes?
Right, with respect. And I thank you for your cherished guidance. Speaker, I would not attempt to regularize or put logic on the guidance you've given, but I recall vividly. As I am one person who follows the business of the House with keenness. Speaker, 2 months ago, the BOG boss was programmed to come to the Committee of the Whole to brief the House on certain infrastructures that the Bank of Ghana had invested in. Speaker, the call was at the instance of a concern that was raised at the Business Committee. It wasn't a specific question that was filed. So if precedence is anything to go by, my preference is the PURC Executive Secretary coming. And Speaker, I think if you read the latter part of the interpretation, it says, the Office of the Auditor General, Bank of Ghana, and other bodies established to have exclusive jurisdiction in the performance of assigned function. Speaker, with respect, I know and I respect you that the interpretation of these rules is in your bosom. If it is your pleasure that, as was suggested by the majority leader, it should rather be the Minister for Energy and Green Transition coming to address this matter, so be it. But I insist that I'm within the provisions of the orders, that we should rather allow...
Well, by the application of a jus generis rule as to whether PURC will also be a constitutional body, because the Constitution expressly mentions those bodies. They are expressly mentioned, but that may be... Yes, Honourable Member.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. So, Speaker, I commend the majority leader and business leader of government business. Mr. Speaker, the Attorney General is the...
Yes, Honourable Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the minority leader pleaded for 5 people. He pleaded for 5 people. You granted his plea, gave 5 people the opportunity, and we responded. You don't have to be satisfied with my response. You don't have to. You don't have to be satisfied with my response. It's because we are being nice to each other. The Speaker is indirectly telling you that if you want a minister to come and answer a question, file a question, urgent question or oral question, and the ministers will come. If you want an independent constitutional body to come and answer questions, file a question. If you want an issue raised on the floor, come by way of statement. You can even move a motion that we can debate it and pass consequential resolution. The rules are very clear. But like I said, we've all agreed to play our Friday politics and disperse. But let's not carry it too far. Please, Mr. Speaker, the minister has been sitting here. It's almost time for Friday prayers. MPs have to travel to their constituencies. We have questions, and then we have 2 statements to make. So I'm pleading with it. We can't use 3-4 hours every morning just deliberating on business statement. Something that your own committee has met, deliberated, and concluded on, and we are simply just reporting. So, Mr. Speaker, let's end it then. Let's get to question time.
Well, we will certainly end it there. But the leader has a responsibility. A while ago, you just forgot about finance, and I brought it to your attention. A while ago, you forgot about BOG, and I brought it. So we are not just doing politics. We are representing our constituencies, and he must take this in good stride. Leader, we respect you, but we are also representing our constituencies. The minister should wait. This is Parliament. We cannot please the minister. The minister must wait and answer the questions. This is the Parliament of Ghana. He must wait. Mr. Speaker, I have not said you shouldn't represent your constituencies. I have not. I encourage you to represent your constituencies. But I encourage you to do it properly. Do it properly. Ask the necessary questions, urgent questions. I have checked with the governor of the central bank on the issue of the so-called terminations. They are not terminations. They were people who were recruited in the dying days of the administration of the previous governor. And they were taken on a 6-month probation. It has come to the end of the probation period. And the person who has put them on probation doesn't think they should continue. If you fail a probation, the person is entitled not to permanently engage you. And so he decided not to continue.
But upon pleas and interventions, he's extended their probation by another 6 months. By another 6 months, to give them an additional opportunity to prove themselves. Those are the facts. I just checked. So, Mr. Speaker, those are the issues, and you rightly pointed out. The reason why I cautioned and said, let us have the minister, is that I looked at the rules and I saw that PURC is really not an independent constitutional body. PURC is not an independent constitutional body. So we cannot start giving PURC access to the Chief Committee of the Whole to come and answer questions. We have to pass the questions through the minister. That's why I said we'll rather invite the minister. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Dedi kama amena PENDREAM TV ase. Na so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Ah nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.